is 6:30, so I will call the work session of the mayor and council for the city of Snellville, Georgia, Monday, February 27th, 2023 to order. We have a quorum, everyone is present. So first we'll go through the regular meeting items. We've got the invocation to be given by Pastor Quincy Brown. And then Chuck Ross is going to lead us in the pledge. We have the minutes from February 13th. Got public hearing. The first one is the SUP for the drive-through restaurant, the bubble tea. Anyone have any things to discuss on that in the work session?
Where are we on that? Because it's edgy, as far as I can see.
You mean where, like, how you're feeling, or
Yeah.
you need a little something to push you over the edge one way or the other?
No, I'm over the edge.
We can, let's say we can leave the crystals there for another 15 years, or give these guys a
That's the
shot.
plan.
Doesn't seem like a really good plan, but-
Yeah, I mean, personally, my view on this one, I kind of came to this when we were also considering the Dairy Queen, is that it's in the town center overlay, which requires the SUP for the drive-through, obviously. But on this one, I tend to think that it's okay if we allow this, because the building's already there.
I think that's a big difference, because you're talking about, in order for that crystal to exit the building, it's gonna require the redevelopment probably of that whole
Area.
piece, and it could be tomorrow, unlikely. It's probably I would say a 10 or 15-year run if you can get something decent. And Bubble Tea is a franchise too. It's not like an individual mom and pop. It's a pretty successful little treat, and people are, when I read about them, they really like them. So it's not like we're getting I don't know, another meat and three place, just to slap some tables or touchdown wings down there. They're going to redo it. It should be viable for a while. It's pretty popular stuff these days. And closest one's in Loganville. As far as uses go, they're going to make it better. So I'd be in favor of making it better.
Yeah, we can look at the vacant crystal for another 5 to 10 years probably it's gonna take, because I really think no one's gonna come in and redevelop just that corner. They're gonna want the property with the brand bank and maybe the old Simpson property and all of that. It's gonna take a while. I don't think brand bank, well, it's not brand anymore, Renaissance moving anytime soon that I'm aware of. And we can either have the vacant building sit there on 78, or we could have it occupied with something. Just my thought. I'm not,
This is going to continue too to come up over and over as
Yeah.
the years push through on 78 and then 124 too. So good to kind of identify later on those areas where we want strict adherence versus, kind of the trade-off.
yeah.
What kind of
If
trade-off.
somebody comes in 2 years and wants to redevelop that area,
Yeah, well, I mean,
We're
if
done.
there's a redevelopment going on too, and then that's just the last piece, and they're gonna pick that up and push it over anyways, if it's part of
I'm really hoping that either at our retreat or we have a special call work session later, that we really try to identify what we want in the town center overlay area.
Yes,
And what we're willing to accept.
yes,
like,
yes.
Or is this just
We have
outside
a
the-
time set aside
at
at
the
the retreat, because we do have some developments, and I'm not even sure that all of you are aware of everything that people have mentioned yet, and that's why we need to really talk about it. And Gretchen, this is exactly right. What are we willing to,
Yeah, and
to
at this
accept?
point, I just don't know that I'm willing to accept it till we can identify what we really want
Yeah.
and what we will accept.
I can tell you, the staff is looking forward to that discussion.
I am too, because
Yeah.
these kinds of things that come up are our problem.
Yeah, well, and we've got, we know there's some developers kicking tires, you know, around in different areas. And, I think we all need to be fully aware of what they're looking at, potentially talking, but there's nothing close to being, you know, applications submitted, anything like that. It is all just kind of ideas out there right now, but I think we all need to be prepared for it. So that's what the discussion.
Yeah, I really think that is,
Opportunities that we can have input into,
Yeah.
yeah,
have some control of.
right, right.
As
That's
far
what
as
I want, is
this
some
case,
control.
I think they've been waiting for like 6 months, so I want them to suffer because we don't know exactly what we want to do or push it, kick it down the road.
Part of that was their issue though.
It was. But- And they're not without fault. I mean, the franchise owners were the ones that didn't do any due diligence, and once Bubble Tea got involved, they started sending professionals in to try to solve the project.
I would favor tabling it until after our retreat.
Or wait, if we did
Okay.
that on a second read, does that cause a problem with the advertising? Or can we table
No,
it
as long
to
as you do
date
a
certain?
set certain,
Set certain date.
date certain.
So if
Does
we
it
set
have
it
to
to
be
retreat
the-
Saturday,
does
then
it
it
have-
have to be the next meeting.
To be the next meeting?
March,
Well,
it should
be.
It should be.
yeah, maybe March
They've
13th,
waited long enough. I have a problem with
March 13th.
not meeting our
Codes.
UDO and our codes
I think that
in town center. I mean,
because it's a pre-existing, I think
Well,
that's the issue.
yeah.
And so you gotta decide, do you wanna just say no more new development on the town center until it meets the code? Or not? And I think that's where Saturday will help us out.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, we've spent 15 years and millions of taxpayer dollars to get a catalyst in place. And I don't want to see I wouldn't be in favor of Ryan's opening as, you know.
Oh, agreed.
And if we allow Crystal to
You have
reopen with
set
a little bit of
precedent.
spit and polish, then how do we tell the guy who owns Ryan's he can't?
I think we need to define the areas
Yeah.
better, because that, Wisteria
Yeah.
to me isn't the same as
We need to
78.
work
And
on
and we
that.
talked about
Yeah.
that.
You're right, because on 78, it'll be seen 1,000 times more.
Right, but, like, you know,
So,
we'll see the crystals too, so.
yeah.
so I'd be in favor of tabling till our next meeting.
We could have bubble tea on 78, we could have Golden Corral. Boy, we'd be in good shape.
I used to work at Golden Corral.
I'm sorry.
The feeding trough.
That was before there was a buffet. All right. Anything else on that one? Then let me know what you want to do when we get there. Then we have the rezoning and land use plan update for Jamie Cooney,
Mason Todd House,
the Mason Todd House.
everybody got their Tom Flynn email?
Yeah,
I didn't get one.
I sent it out this
It's just
afternoon.
these,
Oh,
these
okay.
conditions
Huh?
and his dissertation.
It is basically just.
Just
what-
take a look at it, and
All
part of
right.
the record, we're
You know
not
how I
He
gonna,
feel
likes
about
everything
getting
except,
something thrown at me one day.
some interpretation of some kind.
Having a vote
Right.
on
Was
it.
interpreted
So
not.
it's basically covering what is in the report coming out of the planning commission, y'all's reported.
Yeah, we didn't add any conditions that were on his list or anything. The only one with real merit I saw perhaps was just the limiting of the, if it was to burn and rebuild, the square footage, but that's covered under, the site plan approvals. So
Right.
there's really nothing to add there.
Yeah, I didn't see any need to make it where they could rebuild bigger or whatever. In the current conditions, we removed the wood fence
we allowed it to just between the property owners
Yeah.
to figure it out. And that property owner was here last time, an adjacent one, a representative.
On North Road,
Correct.
yeah.
So they were in favor of the trees and not the fence.
So there really are no additional conditions?
Not from that
Okay.
PDF
No.
Okay.
report.
That I need to familiarize myself
No,
with?
and
welcome
Next
to
10
read it
minutes,
if you
okay.
I had a 45-minute discussion with Tom Flynn, and I came away thinking
Gotcha.
that we're all on the same page, and I was gonna push to have the sidewalk there on Eastwood, and he pointed out some drainage issues that would be a little bit more complicated if we went through and
Okay.
forced the sidewalk there.
So nothing.
And if the neighbors in the adjacent neighborhood don't want sidewalk, all right?
Well, there's no point in having a sidewalk if it just stops.
Well,
When we
I can
build the
think of
rest
it.
of it, we'll connect to it.
yeah,
Save us.
saves us from having to
Oh, yeah.
mess with it later, but
If as and when.
But it does, some people are just opposed because of the traffic and stuff.
yeah.
We could have a gravel path to keep the historic.
Well, and there's some plantings of crepe myrtle and stuff that are on that side that would have to be removed, so.
All right. Then we have the UDO update there, second reading.
Yeah, that's just with the liquor. And a couple of things that might change if you vote halfway house. Added some definitions after that whole trailer place popped up. We can have trailer sales separately, so, which is fine. I think it's been a good place for that. If there's gonna be something, it's been fine. But, we didn't have that in there, so we just made a couple of housekeeping there too.
Okay.
Okay, may I just say something with the halfway house? If we have that, what about the homeless shelters or something for the homeless? Because I'm seeing like 3 and 4 of them roaming around in the city. Do we have something for them,
For what?
for the homeless?
We
Like
don't,
a city project? We don't, but I
we
know the
don't have a
county has
shelter,
like
but the county
warming
has plenty
shelters.
of, police department has a resource list of where they can be referred to. So if you're seeing anybody roaming around, you need to check in with the police department and then they
And
can.
where do you bring them?
It really depends on what their needs are. There's an overall group that the county started up that we get a hold of them and they basically work out what this person needs. So if they just need a room for a night, that's one thing.
Okay.
If they need a room for a longer time period, they might go somewhere else. But it's a really good program and it basically connects them to anything they might need. The problem with most of the people that are walking around now is they don't want any assistance. They actually want to be just left alone. And most likely it's due to mental illness and that kind of stuff.
Because it's just hard to see, but
Mhm.
Yeah.
it's very hard to see when I see.
It is.
Is that the Gwinnett Coalition?
It's not, Gwinnett Coalition is actually attached to this group, but it's not the main overarching group that the county started.
And the idea behind that was so that there weren't so much duplications of some services and none of the other. So the idea with the coalition is that as they put all the different charities together to try to have a clearinghouse for it.
So, yeah, you call into one place and they, like Chief said, they identify the actual need, whether it's mental health services or whether they need hospitalization, medical services, or whether they need just a night or two, or they need something longer term. And they can get them directed out to the proper places.
One of those people we sat next to at the,
At
Family promise.
Family promise, I say at promise.
yeah, there's quite a few groups out there.
Yeah, and what they're trying to do is just not everybody reinvent the wheel. Everybody has their specialty. So,
Well, and that coalition, I think it kind of fell apart a little bit because I think they're trying to get it
yeah,
back together.
because Matt Elder went to work for the county.
Yeah. Then we have the next one for package stores. It's the actual ordinance and questions here.
Are you gonna, how are you gonna handle that in there? You gonna do a little synopsis? You want, as far as, are you gonna read it out, Mayor? Just kind of the, what?
The ordinance, why don't, do you wanna do a little update on it?
I can.
Can you do that?
I'll give you, I mean, I can tie them C and D together to a degree, and then you can vote on them separately, just to keep it.
You have to vote on separate.
Yeah, of course,
Yeah,
but we can talk about it,
Okay.
right? Right? I won't make it too long, since we've already spoken about these for you.
So when Jason gets up to talk about C, he'll talk about C and D together,
Okay.
but we'll still
Votes.
vote on C and then we'll vote on D.
We have, oh yeah, we have a fee schedule amendment too.
Yes. Yep.
Actually, we'll have to have a separate public hearing on each one, too.
The second one doesn't need a public
okay, we're
hearing.
gonna.
What?
The second one doesn't need a
We
public
wouldn't get a
hearing.
public hearing on the
Just
second
an
one?
Yeah, that's
ordinance.
just a city code.
Not on ordinance.
Okay,
Yeah, not on the ordinance.
okay, that's
Yeah,
good.
That'll work out.
Oh, wait, so which one doesn't need it for the UDO?
D.
D doesn't need a public hearing.
If anybody wants to make public input, let them,
Just
Yeah.
let them do it under C.
yeah.
Yeah, be fine.
So if you present them both at the same time.
I don't think we'll have a lot of
No.
pitchforks
We
tonight.
need a very sober presentation.
And then under new business, we've got the planning and development fee schedule that adds for the liquor stores.
And one fee increase on the short-term rental
Yes.
application. Lot hundreds.
And then we're surplusing some police vehicles. And then we have the nomination of Jamie Tony to the DDA. Alright. Any other questions on any of that? Any correspondence?
No, put it on in the project update, got those handouts.
I don't think I had anything. City attorney's report?
Just some things that Todd talked about these, I believe, a little bit previously in his comment, but just kind of updating everyone. There are some bills that are being considered right now that have serious impact on the city. House Bill 517, the Georgia Home Ownership Opportunity Act. That is the one that basically says we can't say things like, it's only for 1 and 2 family houses, but you can't say they have to have a garage, you can't dictate the number of rooms, size of rooms, materials, porches or roofs. But the big one is, there is a square footage, we can't make things bigger than 1,200 square feet. Requirement to be that. So that is, you can't have lot width minimums on, or road frontage minimums. So those are kind of tough ones there.
Would that take away our 22-foot driveways too?
I don't think so, because that's not a road frontage minimum. So I think we're okay there on that one. But now there could be, that may end on 188. But House Bill 514, it says that moratoriums are maxed at 180 days, and you have to let 180 days go between before you can have another one on that issue. So that's,
So like where we just did
Yeah.
That takes a little.
a 6-month
Right.
moratorium on the weed stores. Once that lapses, we'd have to wait 6 months before we could do another moratorium,
Synthetic weed.
synthetic weed.
That's what they call it.
So we better be ready to go.
Also, there's a bill pending for rental houses not having different requirements.
that's 188.
188.
Bill
So we need to,
188.
I think we need to address that and get the rental and the for sale requirements to be the same.
Well, let's wait and see if they pass it first, right? Aren't we good now? We're okay?
We're okay?
We're okay right now.
Yeah. Well, we knew
What we
that might
have.
happen. to, but at least got something on the books.
Yeah. I don't know.
I
if
don't
we
think
would-
that one's gonna go, I mean, it's all.
I don't know if any are gonna go, but it'd be nice to be
So
done,
the-
so we don't have to worry about it in the future.
Are all these stuck in committees right now?
No, they're,
They're out.
the
They're out
517 is
of
being heard,
committees.
is
They've gotten past
actually,
our committees.
being heard tomorrow, in subcommittee.
Uh,
The other two aren't as far along, but
Which one was 17?
That's, the can't,
That's-
and the thing they don't realize is you can't.
It Passover Day.
Oh,
When's
yeah.
Passover
So
Day?
it's next week.
You can't
It's
control
gotta be
exterior
Passover Day.
decoration,
There.
so you could put up anything you want. You could put up, I hate fill in the blank here.
Crossover Day.
Second Amendment?
No, well, we
Just kidding. I wasn't trying to.
we could have exterior grade plywood.
Plywood, OSB.
Monday, March
As the
6th.
exterior of.
Or cinder block.
Yeah.
Or
so that's
cinder
next
Yeah.
Monday.
That'd be lovely.
So after then, we know it's dead.
So I mean, yeah, it's like, I know Gwinnett is real big, that they have to have, and Lawrenceville as well, you have to have stone on the front of
Yes.
single family houses, or a water table,
Yeah,
you know, and that kind of thing, and that would all be knocked out by this act.
well,
So,
and you wouldn't be able to say no vinyl siding.
Right.
You wouldn't be able, I mean, you literally could build the houses out of just plywood.
With flat roofs, with
Yeah,
target.
flat roof.
And you can't require minimum square footage of windows or doors, so.
Safety.
So, I'm not, yeah, so you could just have a plywood box with a door in the front for people to go in and out, and that's it.
It would be horrendous. And that's the thing too, essentially then we have no authority, and somebody had brought up the point on the call on Friday, was the state gonna do a planning department that would do inspections and reviews? No.
No,
So there would be no oversight anywhere on any of that.
I did an article on that, if anybody, I sent it out
Mhm.
and tried to cover all of the aspects of it, because it's just bad. And the only way around that I can see is you have to require any new construction has to have an HOA, because HOAs can opt out.
oh, I hadn't seen that.
But the HOA is put in place by the builder,
After.
so.
They can amend it immediately.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, but
that wouldn't save,
They don't have a way to enforce.
it would save existing neighborhoods from infill development,
Yeah.
but it would not preclude people from building plywood shacks.
yep.
The only other thing I have is on Saturday, so before we were gonna have the dinner on Friday, and then, you know, the next day, we we're gonna have the retreat. What we're gonna do, propose now is right immediately after we finish the retreat, we'll be hosting the dinner at the same restaurant, so.
Thank you.
Same place, so we can go straight from there to dinner. Okay, that's all I got.
Is that a walk?
Ish? Yes.
So we can leave the
Are
cars.
we
at
still-
UNA and-
Are we going in the senior center bus? Is that the plan?
Yeah. Are you gonna ride the bus?
We got a van.
Okay.
Anybody who wants to ride can ride. Just let us know.
A van or a bus?
I'll ride.
So when and where to meet?
Yeah, give us,
Meet right here.
what
at,
time?
This room?
4:30 a.m.
Let's see,
No
I
problem.
won't be that
No, in
late.
the chambers.
The
7?
6:45.
6:45 in the parking lot, right?
Mm-hmm. You can bring your pillows, take a nap on the
You
way.
can't sleep on that bus.
No,
Oh, come on.
not with you driving.
That's start time for
There's
us.
new potholes on 78.
Yeah, for y'all, it's like,
Just
I
kidding.
get to sleep in.
Where the farmer's market is.
And just so you know, Chief Perry just sent everyone the homeless assistance resource guide that they had. It's in your
Park the
email.
van, we have the farmer's market Saturday, so don't park it in the area where the,
Park it over by the free speech
well, the
area.
vendors will be starting to come in.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll take care of that.
okay.
Got it.
All right, ongoing projects?
Sure, on the,
Oh, wait, can I say one thing before we do that? I got a Facebook message Saturday night about a stop sign that had been graffitied. And I emailed that to Public Works and Police this morning at like 9:30 or 10 o'clock, and by noon, it was already replaced with a new sign. So, thank you. And one other note too, last week, we started getting a ton of emails from Harbor Oaks that tractor trailers, 18-wheelers, were going down the street. And so apparently what they think is that Waze is now using Harbor Oaks as a way for traffic to avoid different intersections. So these tractor trailers were running down the street. I had asked for no truck signs. We had been emailing with the chief and Craig and Butch, and Craig got them ordered that day. They were supposed to be in the following Monday. They came in like the next day or
Same day.
the same
It's gotta be
day.
the same day.
They had them done and they had them installed that day. Because the police couldn't enforce the no trucks until there was a sign.
Greg can do his job.
So
So is there a way to contact Waze and let them know that that's a no truck?
I don't know if it, I
Now
don't
it's,
know.
now it's posted, there might be.
People
Yeah,
might
the
start
signage will get
posting
picked
it.
up on after a while.
Right.
They'll log it in sometime.
And we can't write any tickets for it for 30 days, but we can still stop cars, or stop trucks for the violation.
No, no. Because I remember a news report, it was probably 3 or 4 years ago, where one of the local stations was interviewing a homeowner in a residential neighborhood that the apps, the GPS apps were routing traffic like off of the major highway through their neighborhood to get around traffic. And they were trying to find a way to stop that, and I don't remember if there was any solution to it. But unfortunately, that's, yeah. No, I'm not sure how well that'll go over. All right, sorry, Rich.
No, no problem at all. It's great work by Craig and his folks. I put a couple of, given you a couple of handouts, 2 pages, sort of an update on the market, or the mercantile. The first page is totally accurate. It is the new site plan of the building, and we've got Placemaker Architect updating the design. We have Smallwood updating the landscape architecture, and we have CHA updating the engineering in all of the elevations for building this building. We are also, all 3 of those are working with our contractor, Snellville, to get an updated budget cost estimate as quickly as possible. And so that's moving on good. With all that work going on, we asked Casto, Roger White, to come up with an updated schedule. That's on the 2nd page. And this is not correct. We have, I just wanted to hand this out so you got the first page properly. We'll update the schedule. There are a couple of things on here that we had a real problem with. 2 months for permitting, that's not going to take place. We have more confidence in the county than that. And we have some contacts where we can push that. So there are several items in here that Smith built to revise pricing. That's only going to take a week. Whereas this schedule shows completion in the middle of March. We feel like we could back this up a couple months to January. So I will update that for you as all of the information comes together with all of those folks working. Elsewhere in the Grove, you can see that Hodges and Hicks on the Grove proper, the hardscape and the landscaping, it's really coming together pretty quickly, really. We definitely did not ask for some of the rain delays we've had, but one thing that's going to do, it's going to put our sod and our green area in the Grove into prime planting season. So if we can get the sod down, there's a lot of preparation underneath the sod. I mean, it is special underground work that's going on with rock, drainage, soil. And if we put the sod down towards the end of March, it's probably gonna be 2 months to grow in. We have to keep people off of it. But it's really working out well. Trees are going in now. This is a good time to put in trees. Landscaping is working well timing-wise. You can see all the framing work going on what's called M1 and M2 on Clower, those two buildings. I didn't realize they were going to be that scale. They seem a lot bigger. I know we've got residential on the top floor, but I mean, they're large buildings. So it's really, when you're in the Grove, you're gonna feel like, you know, you're in the center of a lot of activity. I mean, you're gonna feel kind of cozy down there in the Grove proper. Tomorrow at 11:30, anybody can join us if you'd like. We have a deck cleanup walkthrough, and we have an FF&E walkthrough where we're going to look with Michael Kidd and Roger, look at furnishings for the Grove. Everything from bike racks to garbage cans.
What time is that, 11:30?
11:30. Just meet down there around the library at the Library Plaza.
Somebody told me.
It's gonna be a nice day tomorrow too.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to get
In the library itself, floor coverings down in the library. Things are really moving well there. Upstairs with Thrive, we had a very good meeting last week regarding security and low voltage. Thrive was actually, for the first time, they were the most organized of all the participants in that meeting. I'm glad they finally have they kind of have the bit in their mouth. They're being much more helpful, asking good questions, and it just gives me a lot more confidence that we're going to have a building that everybody's going to love when it's done and not have a lot of questions. So we're just pushing as hard as we can. Next week we'll have a good list of leaseholders, at least the ones he can tell us about. There's still some that he, are still kind of confidential. So, but we'll get that out to everybody from Kirk in Big City. Sidewalk improvements, property documents are being returned and meetings scheduled with all property owners. County coordination is continuing there. I think I said last time that their big water project on Valley Creek and Pinehurst, they haven't awarded it yet, but the apparent low bidder is a company that is going to bid also. We've made sure of that. It's also going to bid on our sidewalk improvements. So if we can have the same contractor, we'll have very good coordination on those projects. Very important. City business cleanup, beautification, sanitation. The plan, Craig, his department, and Matt are working closely with Rick Jarvis to have the new curbside program in place by May 1. We do have an update. I think we're going to discuss sanitation at the retreat, so we'll get into that a little bit more. Johnny Green will be there to talk about code enforcement items. We've been pretty fortunate. I think Brianna coming on and just getting the experience that she's gotten has really helped us in our code enforcement work. So I don't know if she's had any cases with you yet or not.
She did, she had 3 on our last quality of life.
Okay,
So,
good.
Doing real good.
So that will only get better over time. Development and zoning, we started a little discussion. I think we all are anxious I know the staff is anxious to get your guidance and come to a good plan for development opportunities, redevelopment opportunities, not only in the town center overlay, but out in other fairly large areas like Rosebud and 78 or 78 and 84. So we'll have a good discussion at the retreat. Package sales implementation, we'll be ready to go after this evening. Economic development, north side, and other town center properties. Can we talk about Jeremy Becker?
Let's save that till.
Okay, we'll wait. We're just looking at potential redevelopment throughout the area. It's some
Because that's all part of that Saturday discussion.
yeah, spotlighted properties. Annexation is also on the retreat agenda. Briscoe Park, continued coordination meetings with Gwinnett County. Those conversations are ongoing. And we're going to talk about the Lenora Church property also at the retreat. North and Wisteria, the right-of-way appraisal work is complete. We're starting conversations. I've talked several times with the medical building folks on the corner there. They're very, very cooperative. They're going to want to come up with their own number, but I don't think it's going to be too different from ours. So, and that's really the key piece of property there, because we're pushing back, we're building a wall, there's a right turn lane onto northbound north, so that's just something that we're starting to work out with all the property owners. And traffic calming plans, Barbara, do you want to update everybody on those? You guys kind of started the discussion last meeting. We talked to Chief Perry, basically asked him for we wanted to work on 3 residential streets, and we wanted to work on 3 county maintained streets where we have a speeding issue. Greg came up with Mountain View, Skyland, and Rockdale as far as the 3 the county maintained roads. We've initiated conversations with the county there on, for instance, Mountain View. We cannot just do a small traffic calming device on Mountain. You're going to need a roundabout, a true roundabout. Maybe not a full-size one, but we've talked to the county about accepting a scaled-down roundabout that still slows traffic down there. For instance, we're looking at Pennistone and then Williams Downs. 2 good-sized roundabouts would make people think about how fast, make it much safer through there. Well, I don't know if you all notice or not, but a lot of people walk on that sidewalk in the evening, an awful lot. And so that's something that we're starting to work on. Larry Kaiser is giving us a proposal for developing on those 6 streets, on the residential streets, Harbor Oaks, Green Valley, which is a section of Green Valley that's a speeding problem.
Awesome.
And Matt, what's the third one? Green Valley, Harbor Oaks.
It's a quiz.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Not Bill, right?
Oh, Tanglewood.
Okay.
Well, that's good. Christine, right.
We have,
I stand corrected.
Just speed it.
I don't want everybody to get their hopes up. We have a lot of study to do.
And we have some talking to do, because I
Yeah.
saw the email that went out, I
Yeah.
saw the post going back and forth, not
Hey Siri,
everybody's.
I have a lot.
Stop that. What are you doing?
It's like, what? Not everybody might be for it, so we're gonna need to, also engage with the neighborhoods and make sure that there's buy-in, because this is something that would be city funded, and I don't wanna do something that people feel like, if people are gonna fight it and not want it, then obviously we don't need to do it there, so.
We have broached the subject of county participation on the county maintained road. And I hope that we can follow through in that. I mean, it's to their benefit also. So a lot going on there. Larry should have his proposal. I'll bring it to the next meeting. But we're looking at the smaller traffic calming devices in the residential streets, $15,000 to $20,000 a piece. The larger roundabouts, we're talking about $8,200 probably. So we'll look and see what the budget looks like after we do a little more planning and design. But I've loved roundabouts since the late '80s, my first trip to Europe, and just seeing those things. And
That's all they have there.
they do so well, traffic safety and pedestrian safety. And so we'll, I'm glad y'all are supportive, we'll see where we get.
Butch, is there any update on, from Kirk on an operator for the mercantile?
Look, an operator,
For the mercantile.
Oh.
No, that's what will hopefully get some ideas of at least who they might be talking to if they're closer.
they've had meetings, Shannon has had meetings, but we don't have any type of a proposed lease or numbers. You know, they budget-wise, they feel like the same numbers can be in place that were in Jamal's lease. So that makes me feel good, but we need to nail somebody down. And the fact that, I honestly believe when they say, look, we have a plan going forward now, it's gonna make it much easier to find the people that we want, a non-chain, unique type facility, and more than one. So, I'm hoping for some results in the next 4 to 6 weeks and nail something
About the
down.
other two buildings, do they have somebody there? I mean, I know they can't release anything yet, but they do have interest.
Yeah, yes, you're talking about Oak,
The ones across
that
from
both Flower and Oak.
Flower.
Yeah,
That's what we'll get, their vendor list, or their lessee list.
Next week.
Tenant list. So, that's where we are.
Okay. Anything else on the projects? And then the development questions from staff, we're just pushing that to the retreat. And that ends, no exec session tonight?
Can I just briefly mention the text that I sent everybody while we were up in
Sure.
our meeting? Georgia RIA, which is Georgia Real Estate Investors Association, has a training session this weekend. Georgia RIA at one time had 6,500 members, individual investors here in Metro Atlanta. And so I texted y'all their
Double your
their
returns with pad split.
training opportunity for this weekend, which sadly none of us can go to because we're going to be in retreat. But a gentleman's going to come and talk about how pad split can double the amount of money.
Yeah.
And if you scroll down on it, it shows how you divide up
Jesus,
a
Mary,
regular
Joseph.
3-bedroom house into a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He only went 7. And it more than doubled the amount of money. So please talk to your state legislature people, anybody you might have personal connection to, let them know that it's an issue for us. And we have to figure out how we are going to stop this or control it going forward in the city. Because right now, it's just a matter of if we are notified by a neighbor, then code enforcement goes out. So we have to figure out a plan to be proactive.
Stop it in the bud.
Right. Nip it in the bud.
Seating is limited.
Sure it is.
You should stop that pad split the seating.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there shouldn't be limited seating at that. If you can put 7 different bedrooms in a 3-bedroom house, then by all means, you should be able to put 1,000 people in a 200
Yeah, we'd love that in
room
a
for
septic,
200.
wouldn't we?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn the work session. Motion is there a second? All in favor?